Hey gang, Eric Shanefield here with Local Marketing Institute, and welcome to this week's local SEO and marketing Q&A session. I'm thrilled to be joined by two very good friends, Jason Brown and Ben Fisher, both of them who are well known in the industry and are platinum Google My Business product experts. So thrilled to have them with us. Hi guys.
Hey, how's it going, Eric?
We want to just let you know quickly, if you're not already, sign up for our email newsletter. Go to localmarketinginstitute.com. You can sign up right there, get notified every time we're doing stuff. We also have a Facebook group. Come on out and join us. Search for Local Marketing Institute Connect. Ben's there, Jason's there, tons of people are there. It's a really good community, lots of individual questions and answers we can do out there on all different kinds of local marketing subjects. And finally, I want to encourage you, subscribe to our podcast. We are archiving all of these, and we're also publishing these Q&A sessions to our podcast each and every week. So just go to localmarketinginstitute.com, click the podcast link, and sign up there. All right. So this is a great question. I don't think we tackled this one last week, guys. Question came in: what should a business do if they get a call for someone claiming to help them with their Google My Business listing? Something, I guess something like your Google My Business listing may be suspended or not verified, causing your customers to not be able to find you. Please speak with a listing pro so we can quickly check the status of your online business listing. What's your guys' initial reaction to this one? I can bet I know what it is.
Report to the 3P complaint form.
Spam. Right on. Total spam. That's an easy one. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but Google My Business will never call you about verifying or about your suspended listing, correct?
Untrue.
True.
That's untrue.
Okay.
So Google will call you to verify your address sometimes when you're getting out of pending or when you're getting out of or in the process of a reinstatement. But it's short, it's sweet, it's to the point. They say they're from Google. They just verify your address. They're just verifying factual data. A company like what you're talking about is a total scam. They're trying to say they're going to charge you $300 a month to verify your listing. They should be reported through the 3P or third-party reporting form, which Google has. So I'll look at that.
Where's that form?
Literally Google that 3P reporting GMB, but I'll look it up in a second. But what you want to do though is that Google can't do anything with this information unless you've gotten the company's name, email, or phone number. So press for that data if you get that kind of call.
Okay, great. Yeah, if you have that link, let's see. I think I got the link right here. Yep, third-party violation. Let me bring up that link so everybody can see that link here.
Yeah, and even as Google is starting to go towards a pay-to-play platform right now, with the special upgraded GMBs, they're not going to call you to sell you on a GMB listing, right? They're not going to say, hey, you need to pay us $50 to upgrade or to do your listing. So as soon as somebody starts calling asking for money, but that's just a scam. People are trying to come up with any creative way that they can to make money. This isn't new. It's been going on for a while. I mean, there was that great example of when Blake Dedman got called when we were all at PubCon, and both he and Joy, recorded the call as they were messing with that
I remember
scammer.
that.
Yeah, I remember.
So it's been happening. But if anybody is saying, hey, your listing is going to get suspended if you don't pay X amount of dollars, it's a scam. You can investigate it if you want to report to Google. I haven't really seen Google do much to take care of it or stop it, but it's the way of the world, unfortunately.
Okay, good. Next question. So I've seen these Google Maps with circular or square patterns on them. Do these actually work to help your local SEO? You'll see tools like that make patterns like this. And I've actually got a screenshot here that I'll share.
Better be a smiley face or something.
All right, there's a screenshot, right? So it looks like it's these aren't GMB listings. This is just a Google map with a bunch of listings on there. Kind of looks like they're targeted toward nursing care and senior care and things like that. Do these help?
So I think the terminology for this is map stacking. It's a lot of BS naming for techniques like this, but overall, no.
Okay.
Waste of time.
So I've seen these on a lot of the forums out there and people, but really, it doesn't really help anything is what you're saying. But there's a lot of people selling these services under the premise that they do help.
There are a lot of people out there who do what's called biz op. They know how to sell, they know how to market, but they don't actually know what they're doing.
Okay. Great. You
that's
guys are making this easy today. Our museum moved locations in 2019, and we have a lot of images on the old location still showing prominently on my Google My Business listing. How can we get rid of these old images of our building?
You should be able to flag the photos in your dashboard as not being relevant to the place. And if that doesn't work, then you can do get help or come to the Google My Business community forum. And then, we can, you can either work with Google directly or wait for a product expert to help you. But ultimately, the thing that you'll have to do is you have to get a link to each and every single image and create like and what I say is just create a spreadsheet with the link to the images. And that way, it'll be easy for you to work with Google or with a product expert. Sit there and say, okay, these are all the old photos from our old location. We need to get these removed because they're no longer relevant. And Google will be very forthcoming in removing those to clean up the data.
The only thing I would add to that is that, what Jason said there, flagging is so important. Like people don't do that with the reviews, for instance. They just come in there to say, hey, I've got this review. I've been in business for so many years. I don't deserve this. Did you flag it? No. So absolutely, definitely want to flag it. You also want to, when you do reach out to Google, just tell them that the customer experience has changed. We have moved locations. If you say that exactly, customer experience has changed, then they should take action.
For several local service area businesses I work with, I'm looking for guidance on creating a page for linking to related businesses. One business I work with has a lot of businesses and related niches that recommend him, and he does the same. Would it be good to include these links in such a page? What should be left out? Is one page sufficient for all links to other businesses? Any guidance would be help. And they threw in a little Fort Collins example. So let me bring that one up for you here, and I will show that to you. There you go. So this looks like it's a page on this particular site. Local businesses we love, and they're linking out to, it looks like other local businesses that are nearby them. Some are online, some are that. And obviously, here's where my flag goes up. I could see some legitimacy of like a local business saying, hey, here's other local businesses in our community that we love and we frequent. And those feel like that would be legitimate. But then at some point, where does this cross the line and become link building that could potentially get you suspended or damage your search?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, so basically, if it's something where it's link swap, right, where it's like, to be on this page, you must link to me. That's where it gets really murky. Back in the 90s, like 96, this was actually how you did marketing. This was how you got traffic to your website is you just built up little basically small directories on your website, and that's how people would link to each other. But all of that kind of changed in 2000 when people started selling links to game the system. So I'd say as long as you're doing it and you're doing it in a genuine way, then you're okay. What are your thoughts, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem. Like, Google wants links to be, natural. And so when you're starting to do this, you're not being natural. And, you run the risk of getting a link penalty, and one thing you don't want to do is start getting, link penalty. If you want to, recommend services, that's great. But I mean, this looks like you're trying to legitimately set up a directory sales page. And if all these businesses are all interlinking back to each other, then Google's going to sit there and say, okay, this is not natural. And they'll either discredit the links, or they'll issue a manual action. You get a manual action, and then you got to take that page out. Now, let's say you don't even know why you got a manual action for, a link penalty. you now have to do, you have to either remove those links or disavow those links. What if you disavow the wrong links? There's so many things that you run at risk. And setting up a page like this, you may be helping the other businesses, but you may not be helping the other businesses by earning yourself. So, look, here's the thing. If you really want to, get involved in local areas, there's ways that you can easily do this. You can, register with your Chamber of Commerce. I'm a big fan of the local Chamber of Commerce. Get involved with your local city. Start doing sponsors. Do sponsored activities. Get your name out there. Like that's gonna do you a whole lot more good to build your name and your brand than just to me linking to Ben linking to Eric and I, and Eric linking back to us. Like links are important, but so is brand building. And I think people forget to build their brand when they're thinking about SEO.
So your opinion, Jason, is you would recommend that businesses do not do these kinds of other businesses that we like pages and vice versa, even though, I think, Ben, your take seems to be a little softer on that you could see, hey, there is some legitimacy there. So there's some gray area here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If it's natural and you're not expecting anything from it, you're linking to Joe's Bar and Grill because you like Joe's Bar and Grill. That's great. That's fantastic. But if you call up Joe's Bar and Grill and say, hey, I'd like to talk to your webmaster, we're linking to you. We're going to remove a link to your website. If you don't link to us, that's unnatural.
So, and what would be natural is to sit there and say, okay, so let's say this is a wine cellar. Hey, everybody, we're going to do a wine tasting at Joe's Bar and Grill. Come on down this Saturday. Now that's totally legit and natural, right? Because now you're actually saying, hey, we're having an event. Here's where you can go to come up to this event at 8:00, right? Like that's natural. But to sit there and to link to 8 restaurants in your local area, that doesn't look that does not look natural. And here's the thing. Do you really want to risk any issues with Google? Like, Google is, it has been at this a whole long time. I used to do this back in the day. I am very scared of messing with Google, so I am more, I'm going to stay super white hat, and I don't even want to even look at gray areas. Got
it. So, again, I'm probably leaning a little more toward, Ben, being a little more lenient on this. I do understand that what you're saying, Jason, that, hey, you're running risks and you got to be willing to accept those risks. Jimmy on our thing asked, "Will define a natural backlink?" And Ben, I think you said it exactly. It's like, hey, if you're doing a post where you're saying, hey, we're doing a wine tasting at so-and-so's bar this Friday, come check it out, and you have a link to it over there, that's within context. But creating a page or saying, these are other businesses we love, like if I other businesses I love in the Windsor area, that may be where it still may be legitimate, but that's when you can really potentially open up the door to going too far. Right?
When you see a page like that has, I didn't count the number of links, but I'm assuming it's probably north of 30, maybe even 40.
No, they probably had about 10, 15, I think, on it.
Oh, 10, 15? Yeah, 10, 15 is no big deal.
Yeah.
But it's when you get to that point where it's like 10, 15, 30, 50, 80, now it's
then it starts to look really weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And when you start to see, the real problem is when you start to see these networks where you've got 100 sites and every site links to all 100 sites. That's when Google's going to say, something's up here, this ain't right. And that's when the potential penalties can come.
Oh, yeah. PBNs. Basically, what you're talking about, PBNs, link wheels, I think is another name that's been given to it in the past.
But here's the other thing. Like somebody I know, and I'm not going to mention their name because I'm not at liberty to, but they were actually doing linking out to clients that they were writing up about, and none of the clients that they were writing up and linking to actually saw any benefit from those links whatsoever, and it actually had adverse effects on the company because people were like, hey, we noticed that you're only linking to your clients, and so then it was like, so it's a double-edged sword. It's like you don't want to cut off your nose to spite your face.
Right. So, Paul, I know this was your question. You did a follow up here. I appreciate that. So, Paul said, would you recommend other businesses on a page but not using links? Sure, you could do that. I'm going to throw out my thoughts on this. You're going to find out here that there's no black and white answer here. Here's my thought on it, Paul. I think if you have a few other local businesses in your area that you really do love and want to work and want to recognize, I don't think there's any problem with having a page about other local businesses you love and even putting a link onto them. When you start getting into trouble is when it looks like there's a network of sites that are all linking to each other. I think you could also start getting into trouble when you start seeing a page that is linking to, like if I'm here in Fort Collins, Colorado, and I'm linking to a business in Massachusetts and a business in California and a business in Texas and a business in Illinois, that's going to start to look really shady. But if I'm looking to businesses that are nearby me that I frequently often, and even if they happen to link back to me, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But when you start to see this organized network or these geographically dispersed things, or as Ben said, 30, 40, 50 links on a page, that's when things start to look shady. So that's why I'm just saying it's a slippery slope. Just be cautious how you do them. And Trisha brings up a good question, guys. Does kind of the new designations that Google rolled out with sponsored or UGC or no follow, does that have any impact on that?
So Google's always been funny about links. So I understand where Jason's coming from, and we should all be scared of Google and if they're going to take action on this. But the way that they look at links, I think, is kind of interesting. And it goes back to even the Matt Cutts days, but even John Mueller's come out and said this even, I think, recently, like this year, is that certain links will help you and certain links won't help you. But those certain links that won't help you also might not hurt you at the same time. Right. So they might just discount them. And I forget who did it, but somebody just recently, I think it was, oh God, I forget who it was. Jason, you'll probably remember. But somebody just did a little Twitter survey, basically saying, I think it was Lee Ray, if you should disavow all your links or if you should only disavow some of your links. And I believe the survey came back like 60 some odd percent, 67% said back, disavow some links, basically. So I don't know. That's where I'm going to leave that actually right now.
Well, I think we've beaten this within an inch of its life. But I mean, the point is, use judgment, make it, be authentic. If these truly are businesses that you love and you want to give a little bit of love to, I don't think it's an issue. Just don't go overboard and be cautious. Maybe that's fair enough to say there. Here's a great one. Michael just asked this question. I have an agency at my home, but my house was built in 1923 and looks bad on my GMB page. How can I change the picture to be more appealing?
Okay, so
multi-tiered question there, actually.
Question I have to have there is did you hide your address? That's first question, because there shouldn't even be a picture of your home on your listing if it's not the SAB. So that's number one. Number two, if you want to change your picture, I think we brought this up last week. One thing you can do is do the GMB website and change the cover photo, and it should change it from your home to whatever you want to change it to. So.
Yep. So, Jason, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, my thoughts are exactly the same. It's like, if you're using your home, if you don't have signage, then you're supposed to hide your address so you can be in compliance. And so, if you're not in compliance, then you run the risk of getting suspended. But also, right now is not the time to try and get your listing into compliance. As much as I would say I'm going to be the white hat. If you go in and you start making changes to your to core data, you hide your address, you change your service areas, you run the risk of either a suspension or reinstatement right now. And so there's just a lot of things with GMB, and I put it out there, in a tweet over the weekend on Friday, you change your name, your address, service area, telephone number, website. Even seeing it with hours right now, and definitely categories, you're running the risk of getting suspended right now. So this is the new state of Google. They want you to set your GMB listing the way that it's supposed to be. If you try to get your listing into compliance, you better have all your ducks in a row, because you're going to have to apply. You're more than likely going to have to apply for a reinstatement, and your listing is going to be down for a while you're trying to get everything fixed.
And you can thank the spammers and the lead for all
for
of
that issue. Yeah. So Michael, I mean, now I don't know. He may actually have signage and may meet with clients at his home. If you do, then it's legit. You can have a map pin and you can work on changing your photo the way that Ben suggested. But Michael, if you don't, if you're really servicing, if that's your home office but you're not actually meeting with people, then you shouldn't have that. You should be a service area business and shouldn't have a map pin. And Ben had a great tip last week's session where he talked about setting the cover photo on your Google My Business website actually impacts the primary photo on your GMB listing, which I thought was brilliant. All right, let's go down here. A couple more questions. All right, I want to bring this one up just because I want to. This is going to open up another can of worms. I want to cancel my Yext account. How do I do that? So we had someone who called in and wanted to know about Yext. I will share with you how you can cancel your Yext account. It's not that difficult. Obviously, if you're working with a company, you work with them. But if you're working with Yext, there is a cancel subscription where you can cancel your subscription within your own account yourself if you want to. If you don't want to do that, you can also submit a request through Yext and you select the cancel service option, and that will start the process as well. They'll probably call you. They'll probably want to try to save you as a client before they actually cancel the service. But I'll throw this out here. I think sometimes Yext gets a bad rap. I mean, I think it's a good tool for what it is, what it does. But what do you guys think about Yext overall? I'll throw this out here. I know this is a controversial question here. Some people love it. Some people hate it.
Ben? I'll start with the hating.
We'll do Ben with the hate and Jason with the hate.
I'll start with the hate. Yeah, I'll start with the hate. No, but so in general, I'm not a fan of citations, right? However, my views have changed as far as local citations because I've just got done doing a test with some getting some through Whitespark, and it actually moved the needle a little bit. So that was interesting. But however, it's like Yext. I mean, it's like I know what Jason thinks about this, so I'm going to save that. But I don't like Yext because of the fact that if you leave Yext, it starts to unwind everything that they did, basically. So as long as you're paying for it, it might serve its purpose. But as soon as you stop paying for it, it's like they pull out the rug from under you. And I just don't like that business practice.
All right, JB, what are your thoughts? Because I think you use Yext sometimes, don't you?
Oh yeah, when I was working at Over the Top Marketing, we did analysis, looked at the Moz Local we were using, and we were not getting the results we needed. The company I was working, or the brand we were working with, had done a major overhaul of rebranding their business name and changing websites, and it was just a complete cluster. We moved over to Yext and immediately got stuff cleaned up overnight, and it was the best thing we had. We're also able to use the review monitoring services, which once you have 100 listings in your GMB dashboard, you don't get review notifications any longer. And so we've actually, there's some great tools that come with that lower level package. But it's great if you have locations that are constantly needing to update their hours. So if you're running 350 locations, then it definitely works, and there's a great payoff with it, because if you need to update photos, you want to update your Facebook cover photos. So I'm a big fan, and I was working with a listing that did not have a knowledge panel, was struggling to rank, created the citations through Yext, and within a week they automatically started popping for their knowledge panel. So there is something to be said there with having Yext. I know quite a few people that use it, but their platform does leave a lot to be desired. A lot needs to be to fix on their back end. Like, it breaks more than it should, and you have to constantly, reach out to them to say, hey, this is broken, this isn't working. But that's part of SEO. It's like, look, even Google My Business breaks all the time, so you can't expect everything to be running perfect as you want. But yeah, I mean, for the person that submitted the question, I mean, you've got multiple locations. You're in a very spammy vertical. Why would you not want to do everything you can to have that competitive edge? And with the Yext citations, you have that little bit of that edge that your other competitors aren't doing.
Okay. Well, and Ben, I'll throw this out for you here. And again, I hear what you're saying, and I know that it's been in the local SEO community for a while there that, hey, you know, it used to be get all your citations and normalize your name, address, and phone number, your NAP across all these citations to help boost your local search rank on Google. And I know that's pretty much at this point here been, I don't want to say completely debunked, but the importance of it has certainly gone down. I want to throw out this though. I can't tell you how many businesses I've seen that I don't necessarily think the listings and having NAP consistent across all that is critical to your Google My Business rank anywhere near as much as it used to be. However, I still find so many businesses that when I try to look for a business and happens to come up in Apple Maps, or I'm doing it on Siri, or if I happen to somehow be on Yext and look at, their information is wrong. So I think when people are actually looking for businesses or trying to find a business, you know, the other day I tried to find a business, a dentist, and I just happened to be, I was driving and I just hit my voice and wanted to get directions in Apple Maps. It took me to the wrong place. So I still think that even though it may not necessarily help you build your position in Google, I think it's still critical for end customers to make sure that you've got your name, address, phone number, and basic business information correct in the major directories. I'm talking Google, Yelp, Facebook, Apple Maps, Bing, right? Those kind of places, and those major TripAdvisor, if I'm in that industry, in those major places, making sure that's correct, because I think it's important for customers who are trying to find you. So I'll throw that out for what it's worth.
And I completely agree with you, Eric. However, I think that, you know, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be anti-Yext here, by the way. It's just that for what you just described, you could do for very little at Bright Local. You could also do it for a very small, much smaller amount dollar-wise than Yext with Moz Local. So, because Moz Local hits the major ones. And I think they even just recently added the basic package that just added an aggregator to it. So, yeah, I mean, Yext is just grossly expensive compared to all the other options that are out there.
But it works better than Moz Local. No, but I mean, like, here's the thing. I mean, yeah, you want to look at user experience. Depending on how many locations you have, I mean, you can get your price point lower the more you sign up with Yext. And so if you're able to get to a sweet deal where you can get $9 a month per location, then yeah, Moz Local is not going to be able to compete with that. But look, if you are working with retail businesses and you have to constantly update your hours on the fly, especially with everything going on with, you've got COVID, you've got Mother Nature, hitting. So, hurricane comes in and you got to close a bunch of locations. Boom, you can do it on the fly in Yext real quick. Fires hit the area. Boom, you can do that. An emergency at the business and you need to close for the day. Boom, you're done.
Yeah, that's a fair counterpoint.
I'll throw this out for what it's worth. Also, one little side benefit to Yext, not a huge side benefit for Yext. Yext does also submit directly to Amazon Alexa for their business for voice search. Because we had so many people ask about voice search, which I don't think is a huge deal in local, but it's a nice little bonus. By the way, we've had a lot of people typing in the comments here that a couple people used Yext, a couple people really like Bright Local, a couple people really like ChatMeter, especially for large chains and franchises. So for what that's worth, there's lots of good management tools out there. And some of these tools go well beyond just citation management. Sure. They get into a lot of other areas. So, just got to evaluate what's the right tool for your specific business on there.
Exactly.
All right. Here's a great question from Jimmy. How does Google rank how-to questions and answers that link to blogs in the SERP? I'm not quite sure I understand the question here.
Feature snippet, maybe?
might be talking about the $1.
Yeah, yeah. He may be talking about the position 0.
Yeah.
Right. The featured snippet that shows on top of a search, and how do you get into that, which is a little different than ranking a GMB listing.
It's very different. I can tell you that for a fact. I've done quite a few experiments on this actually. It's not the easiest thing in the world. I can tell you that. It's going to sound like a really silly answer, but you basically build a really well-structured page that provides the answers in a very structured format. And you also use schema formatting as well to do your questions and the answers. But basically what the way I did it when I was doing my tests is I just took a look at the people that were ranking in the first top 10, and I built better articles than any of them and put as much information as possible. It ended up being like a 2,500 word article, I think. And at the beginning, I had steps that I was going to describe in the article, and then I summarized it into different steps at the bottom. And those steps ended up becoming the featured snippet, basically, and ended up capturing there's 25,000 long tail keywords.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I was going to show one because I'm kind of optimizing for this one too. I'll bring it up here anyway. It's a little different kind of position 0. In case people are wondering what this is, the featured snippet or position 0, this is it. Now it doesn't necessarily look like this. It could look like other things. Google put all different kinds of stuff in here. This just happens to be one of ours. That if you had to claim an optimized Apple Maps listing, our YouTube video on that pops up.
Nice.
But there's other ways you can get that to pop up. That's a whole kind of specialized Q&A example there. Ben, do you have a URL for that example you can post in the chat?
No, but I have one for LMI. Type in how to reinstate GMB.
Oh, this is yours.
Yes, it is.
All right. Yep. So Ben actually provided this. I love the number 1 step. Don't panic. Take a chill pill. So Ben actually submitted this as a article for Local Marketing Institute, and this is number 0. So we're actually coming up in position 0, up above the Google My Business reinstatement request. That's pretty sweet. And again, what we did is we did all the normal page optimization things that were out here. We've got good content, and you go through all that. We got some good inbound links on it. But then, as Ben mentioned, this is in schema markup. So in schema markup, this is an article up here, but there is a how-to schema markup.
Did you actually how-to schema markup?
Yep, we actually did how-to schema markup.
Excellent.
And we did it intentionally because we wanted to get this. Google loves steps and procedures and how-to kind of stuff.
So I got to steal that from you now, Eric.
Pardon?
So now I need to steal it from you.
You totally do. Yeah, go ahead, steal it from me.
That's right. I was talking with a colleague of mine, a good friend, and he said that he basically just went in and added a couple alt image tags to a couple images, and then all of a sudden, boom, he took the top spot for a featured snippet. So
Ben hit the nail on the head. Go into, if you're trying to rank for something, do a search from your especially if you're trying to rank in a specific location for that. Do a search from that location, see what comes up, and then write an article that's better and post on your website. Jason Hennessy is great at this stuff. He's done some stuff where he's taken like a legal firm, he's created FAQs on a legal firm's site where he's now generating so much traffic in just organic. It's off the charts. Really, really good. Okay, gonna try to get slammed through a few more questions here. Let's see here. I'm struggling big time to update my Google My Business pages. A Gmail address set up by someone else who no longer works for the company is associated with my GMB pages, and I cannot get control. What do I do?
Easy. So create a brand new email address associated with your domain. Link it
to the domain of the business.
domain of the business. So let's say it's bluewidgets.com. So create GMB at bluewidgets.com, sync it with Google Analytics, verify it with Google Search Console, and then add that listing in your brand new GMB dashboard that's associated with just that listing, and request ownership access. And then the user will get, depending on the situation, Google did move it to 3 days, but I've been seeing some cases where they have to wait 7 days. So once the owner either rejects it or ignores the request, then you can file a rebuttal, and Google will allow you to verify your affiliation with that listing. And that's why we say, do it with your domain name, because if you just do it with, jasonbrown@gmail.com, not my email address, so don't even send an email there. But if you did jasonbrown@gmail.com, then Google's going to sit there and say, well, we don't really know if you're really associated with this business. They will send out a pinned postcard. But if you verify your email, with Google Search Console and Analytics, you run the higher likelihood of being able to verify by phone or by email.
Only missed one aspect on that, Jason. That was a fantastic response, by the way. And that is if your Google account, if you use a G Suite account, Google actually will trust that a little bit more.
Yeah. And if you guys need to, if you need some specific help with that, I reach out to Jason or Ben. They're great at helping with this kind of stuff. And I'll show you guys contact information here toward the end of the session here as well. So here's a good one from Chris. I recently started working with an auto repair shop. They have a company they've hired that makes a post daily. I would imagine a post on their GMB listing, but it's very generic, and they do not any calls to action to the post. What's your recommendation? Should we add? Should we just leave it be? Should we add calls to action? Should we just change up the strategy altogether?
Moving forward, start doing your own posts.
Do your own posts.
Probably, yeah. I mean, a post with a call to action is pretty worthless. Number one, and you should have good content, good imagery, and you should absolutely have a call to action. It's a very commercial feature.
And you can edit the old posts and add that call, and quickly add that call to action. Like, it's not going to, it's not going to hinder you any iota. But yeah, I mean, why are you going to, just go throw your business card in an empty park waiting for people to pick it up and call you? Yeah, you definitely want to be methodical with it and make sure that, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. And you'll see this as a trend with our discussions here. I'll speak for myself, Jason, Ben, you can chip in. Google My Business Posts, I think they're nice to have and doesn't hurt anything. I haven't really seen a ton of examples where it really helps a lot either. Have you guys?
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Okay, good. I'm glad to see that.
I'm a firm believer in Google Posts, simply because of the exposure that you get from them.
With the featured snippet?
Well, the featured snippet, getting above your competitors on mobile. Okay. Product posts, I think, are amazing. I've got clients who do posts once a week, and every time a new post goes up, they get some sales. So, and they track them, through GA and other means.
Got it.
So I agree. I think the posts are absolutely worth it if they're crafted well.
Yeah, if they're crafted well. Claire Kyle, she, is phenomenal with Google Posts. She's done quite a few great studies about how to craft a great Google post and the data and the analytics coming off of it. So, she's a firm believer. I don't see a need to do one once a week. I think businesses have kind of gotten bogged down with doing too many Google posts, and they end up neglecting other tactics that will actually move the needle a lot farther. So, I mean, create an offer, have it run for a month, but make sure that you're pushing stuff out where you're really going to truly be visible and have the most impact.
And it has to do with more the kind of the business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the problem with the offer and the event post is that you're really limited on the number of characters that you can actually show in your headline.
Right.
Because it's one line, which is about 30 characters. And that's if you want it to look consistent across desktop and mobile and all the other services. So because you've got the date that's going to be in there as well. So the date range. So yeah, I mean that's why I don't like those posts.
We have one attendee just wrote in and said, "Hey, we like GMB Posts because they also provide links back to my website within my Google GMB listing."
Doesn't work that way. Sorry.
Or let me refresh it. So GMB Posts also indexes your web pages in Google.
Also doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I don't think it does either.
No, it guaranteed it doesn't.
Yeah.
Been working with Posts when they were in beta and did tons of testing around that.
Okay. So there seems to be still a lot of misperception about posts out there.
Yeah,
so your guys' sense is posts are good. Posts can indeed help. You've seen results from them. Jason, I think your point is true, though, that, hey, sometimes people may fixate on that versus looking at other things that could move the needle a little bit further. Mm-hmm. And it seems like it also may vary business type to business type.
Exactly. I was talking with a friend of mine, and they spend all this time every day, scheduling out their Google posts and getting them all set up, and then all of a sudden they just start getting rejected. So then I got to go back in and figure out, well, why did this post get rejected? Try to go and figure and clean it up, and then it's just like, well, how much time are you spending on that one? And you start looking at how much time is spent trying to debug why a Google post is failing. It's like, well, what could you have been spending time on with your client? Like, could you have been working on optimizing a page? Could you have been working on some link building tactics? Could you have been, working on other areas that would have, fixed rankings, locally? That's just kind of my thing. It's like, yeah, do it. But if you're going to spend, crazy oodles amounts of time working on it, I don't see it worth the rigmarole to go through it as much.
Yeah, if you're a blue collar HVAC, right, and you're working in the field, what's going to be better for you? Focusing on your business, focusing on maybe writing an article or doing a Google My Business post. I'd probably write an article.
Yeah.
And there's one thing I'd like to debunk that I know that some people push this out there as something that works with GMB posts. Daisy chaining your posts and linking them together does not do anything. So just had to put that out there.
There you go. Good to know. It'd be sometime fun to do like a whole session just on posts and best myths and best practices sometime. Could be interesting. Okay, a couple more questions I want to ask you. We are going to be running out of time, and I know tons of questions have come in. We're not going to be able to get to all of them, but we'll queue them up for next week. There's two questions I absolutely want to get to, though, and I think this is a good one here. Do you still need to do citations for a service-based private address to help improve local SEO?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
But like I was saying, I did a test with Whitespark. So I left for our company GMB profile alone for years, did no citations whatsoever. And then about 3 months ago, I went ahead and got some local citations, about 5 to 10 of them from Whitespark. They built them out. One day I was checking my GMB queries, and all of a sudden GMB queries were kicking. Like we went from like having just a couple queries to tons of queries. And so, and that was the only thing that changed. I was still getting links from high profile places. That was happening all along for the years. But the thing that changed it was actually getting local citations, and we do hide our address.
Right. And you're a service area business, Ben. You don't have necessarily a storefront.
Correct.
Right.
100%. And
so you went ahead and built out the other citations. By the way, I love your approach. Whitespark's a great service for that. You just go out and build out the citations and then walk away.
Yeah.
So you just went there, built out all the citations, and then you saw a significant increase in that. Were you worried about the address that you used? Did you use your actual address, or did you use a PO box in the other?
No, we used
citations?
We used our address, but I mean it was local citations, so it's like the chance of somebody actually coming and showing up is going to be pretty low.
Gotcha.
Actually, and if I remember correctly, the ones that we did were specifically tailored for service area based businesses. So
yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of citations that you can hide your address. So it's it's not there's no issue there.
I think White Spark maintains a list of, I want to say, about 80 websites that will allow you to hide your address.
Yeah, they do. So another good one here. Jason, this one's right up your alley. How can I get rid of obvious fake reviews of competitors who are trying to ruin my business?
Sounds obvious. So obvious fake reviews?
That's what they said.
Yeah. I would go to the GMB community forum, or just email me directly, because we've been seeing, sadly we've been seeing spikes on the fake 4-star review attacks, and so I've got the
fake 4-star review attacks.
Yeah, not the one where it was just a 4-star rating only. These are 4-star reviews with text that are just being blasted on random businesses to make the fake profile look legitimate, while they're leaving 5-star reviews for their service companies, their plumbers, their HVACs, their appliance repairs. But yeah, I mean, look, create a sheet with a Google Sheet. I always set mine up where I do company name. Or sorry, yeah. So I'm sorry. I do the profile, link to the profile name, link to the profile, link to the review, and then I start building out the businesses that are also being reviewed. So let's say, the person's reviewing Ben's business, Eric's business, my business, and your business, and you can show that all 18 of these reviewers are all reviewing those same businesses, then you're going to have a pretty good slam dunk case to go after it. Sometimes we can actually, I can find evidence where somebody has posted online saying, hey, please go ahead and, trash this company with fake reviews, whether they're buying them or they're paying people. I can go to Google, and Google's actually gotten a lot better now with what Ben and I dubbed the red hen protocol. So they've actually been locking down a lot more businesses lately to stop negative review attacks. So I just had a case right now with a guy that's, I think he sold custom tires and rims for cars, and somebody went on YouTube and said to attack him. I just got another case right now where a car dealership this weekend, somebody had a bad buying experience, posted a video on YouTube several months ago, and now they're just getting peppered. And especially with the political climate right now, we're seeing a lot more review attacks with people that are just bored and wanting to just attack and destroy businesses. So one of the businesses I worked on, they just got the review feature turned back on. So, there are avenues. So anybody that just says, forget it, don't try to do anything, just try to bury them with positive reviews. There are ways, but I need to be able to see the case. So if you want to reach out to me, I can, walk you through the likelihood of being able to get those reviews removed.
So on that note, I wanted to make sure we bring this out here that Jason runs the site Review Fraud. Jason, is this the best place for people to get a hold of you, contact information, or do you want to go out to your Twitter or what?
Yeah, hit the contact form. You can send me a message very easily. I know this is like the ugliest site, but I didn't really care too much, and I just kind of. It's
kind of like a case of the cobbler's shoes, right? You make everybody else's site look great, and you never spend time on your own.
Yeah, I know, and I Craig Mount. I'm gonna shout out to you real quick. Yes, I know. Craig and I are actually going to rebuild and relaunch this. It's going to be it's going to look a lot better. But yeah, I mean, look, I am bogged down with consulting with Ben Fisher right now on work, so I'm overloaded there. Helping out on the community forum, plus doing my spam fighting, plus doing all my other consulting. So
yeah,
I just I got my hands in too many pots, but it's just kind of
all right, man. It's all right. And then Ben, I wanted to bring up your site. So Ben runs Steady Demand, and this is how you can get a hold of Ben. Just come out here, Steady Demand. You got contact here, phone number. And both these guys are on Twitter too. Highly recommend that you follow them on Twitter. We have a ton more questions, guys, so we'll queue them up for next week. But really appreciate you guys coming on this week. Any last little things you want to share before we jump off?
Yes. If anybody knows Bill Swasky, please keep him in your prayers. He had a brain stroke last week, and so now he's in the hospital trying to convalesce. And unfortunately, Bill's got to learn to walk again. So was really, really bummed to see that on Sunday. It sounds like he's doing a little bit better, but the whole SEO community is pulling for you, Bill. Love you.
We'll absolutely keep
and
your prayers on that.
Want to reach out to Bill? He's on Twitter. He's also SEO by the C. And for people who don't know Bill, he is one of the guys who does he researches almost every patent that Google puts out. Smart guy, right here. Great guy.
Yeah. If nothing else, go check out his site and send him a little well wishes. That would be awesome, guys. We really appreciate that.